Howdy bowdy, Riffers. This is David Sanchez, and this is episode 72 of the Riffs or Die podcast for Wednesday, July 13th, 2022. Thanks for your patience on this episode. I thought I was going to be able to get this interview out before I flew over to New York to record the new La Special record, but alas, time did not allow. So this interview was recorded a couple weeks ago, so there's a couple of things that are time sensitive in this episode. Where the guest is talking about upcoming shows and stuff. Obviously, those are in the past now, so need not apply on those. However, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes that I've ever done. This is one of my favorite interviews. This is with a really cool guy named Matt Young, or as we call him affectionately, Youngie, from the band King Parrot, and he is also the vocalist in another band called CrisisAct. I recently watched the new King Parrot video, and it's fucking hilarious. I will definitely have a link to that in the description. It's called Kick Up a Stink. The animated music video is really funny. You guys will have to check that out if you want to laugh. It's only a couple minutes long, so peep that. And then there's also links to his other band, CrisisAct, with some of the dudes from Psychroptic and the bass player Revocation. And I just checked that stuff out, and it's fucking sick. Really, really cool band. So peep both of his bands and stay tuned until the end because he's got some wise words for you. As always, if you want to support the podcast, you can go to riffsordie.com and pick up some merchandise. Merchandising. You can also go to patreon.com/riffsordie, become a patron. You'll have access to some bonus content, early access to episodes, and if you sign up at the $10 level or higher, you'll have access to the monthly Zoom Hangouts. You can hang out with me in real time, ask me anything you want, talk shit. I don't care, just come and hang out. It's a good time. If you like the podcast, please make sure you rate it on whatever platform you're listening, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to it, give it a rating. I would really appreciate that. I also appreciate when you guys spread the word. So if you dig it, share it with some friends or family. Send it to someone who you think would enjoy it. Some of you may have noticed that the last episode was not uploaded to YouTube, and there's a reason for that. The reason being, one of my older episodes, specifically the one with Armand Majidi from Sick of It All, got removed. When you get a strike on your YouTube channel, they do not let you upload for a while, so bada boom, bada bing, that's why you didn't see it on YouTube. But there is a way that you will always be able to listen to the podcast, even if they're censored off of YouTube. And that is directly on riffsordie.com. There's a little podcast player right there on the website, the homepage. So just check that out. If you find out that something got released but it's not on YouTube, that could just be because YouTube loves censorship and they're a bunch of totalitarian dickheads. As far as I can tell, the stuff is never going to be censored off of riffsordie.com. So just know going forward that that's going to be the place to listen to everything uncensored. And eventually, if they just start censoring that platform, I'll move over to a different podcasting platform. No problem. I want to support companies and organizations that believe in free speech because I believe in that too. It's incredibly important to me. Somebody should write some sort of document, some sort of legal document that protects something like free speech. Wouldn't that be cool if someone came up with an idea like that? Let's get into it. This is one of my favorite episodes. I hope you guys enjoy. Here is my chat with the legend himself, Matt Young.
Oh, we're on. Excellent.
How's it going out there in the land down under?
It's going good, man. It's going all right. We're doing okay, you know. It's yeah, it's been a bit of a challenge the last few years, but we're getting through it now. It's good.
Excellent. You guys have played some shows recently, right?
Oh yeah. We've been playing, and yeah, we've been doing some touring. We've done Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. We've done some regional shows. I think a couple of the places we might have played with you guys when you guys came out here. Some of the same places, like I think we did Ballarat and Newcastle. And yeah, sort of just some few of the places off the beaten track that quite a few of the bands, most bands don't sort of go out there and stuff, but we'll go out there and do it. So yeah, that's been good. We've got some more shows coming up in Queensland this weekend, and then we're going to have a bit of a break and do a new record. So that's the plan.
That is awesome. It makes me really happy to hear you say that you guys are actually able to play shows in Australia, because the news that I've seen out of that place in the last couple of years ain't looking so good for playing concerts.
Nah, man, it's been a bit weird, like it's been weird because I think in January we played, and it was we played some shows sort of around the Sydney area. We did like 3 shows, and it was kind of strange. Like we were selling, you get a bit of an idea as to how many tickets you sold and things like that. Looks like in an audience, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And I was looking out in the audience when we were playing. I'm like, I know how many tickets we sold at this show, but there's maybe 30% of the people weren't there. But they didn't get a refund. They just didn't turn up, And I think there's just a little, people still getting COVID or, and isolating and, maybe still wanting to support the band and not getting a refund or, things like that. So, or people just not having the confidence, So it's been a little bit strange like that, especially in the regional areas more so. The confidence is quite high in the cities, I found, but in the regional areas still. It's we're getting there, man. We're getting there.
That's good. And you guys have some shows next weekend, right?
Brisbane Friday. We're playing up in the Sunshine Coast, which is about an hour or 2 north of Brisbane, and then we go down to the Gold Coast on Sunday. So yeah, Brisbane Friday, place called Maroochydore on Saturday, and Gold Coast on Sunday.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, how's it been going for you?
Oh, things ain't so bad. Been keeping busy.
Yeah,
life ain't so bad though. All things considered.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys playing or?
No, I think we're gonna make some new music this year, and then we'll hit the road next year when gas is $19.50 a gallon.
Yeah, yeah. So you're getting that over there as well, huh?
Oh yeah. And when fuel prices are really high in the U.S., everyone's pretty sticker shocked over it here, but then whenever I see that stuff, I think of the UK and Europe and stuff, and I'm like, it's way more expensive out there. So even though it sucks here, it's not as bad as it is other places.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously we do liters and all that sort of stuff out here. We don't do gallons or whatever, but the comparison I can make is on average, it used to cost about $80 or $90 to fill your tank, and now it costs about $130 or $140. That's sort of where we're at out here. So I'm sure it's probably the same with you guys, right?
Yeah, depending what kind of a vehicle you have. I think there's about 3.5 liters in a gallon, but
okay.
Yeah, my car gets 11 gallons to a full tank, but when I had the van that we used to tour in, that thing would hold 31 gallons. So
right.
I was just talking to Jungle Rot the other day. They played in Denver, and they were saying that it costs about $350 a day to get between
in
shows.
Fuel.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's insane.
$350 a day just to get to the next show.
Oh my God, man, that's crazy. That is insane.
So what trips me out about that is just thinking in the future, if prices stay like this or get worse, I have no idea how smaller bands are going to come up and actually make it work, unless they all have software engineering jobs or they all have dad's money or something.
Yeah, that's exactly. You're really gonna have to start thinking outside the box a little bit, aren't you? Working a day job sort of while you're in the back of the van,
right?
Doing telemarketing or something, or Our Slat's our bass player. You know, he does like IT kind of work, and when we've been touring and stuff in the past, he'll sit in the back of a van and still do his job. You know, like not as more sort of part time, I guess, but he'll still make calls and do all this stuff. And if you know Slats, he's usually a pretty funny, bubbly kind of guy.
Yeah,
always joking and laughing, but when he does his job, he puts on this other persona where he's this IT headhunter. we all have to sit there and listen to him, like, putting this on and talking all professional and that. It's so hard to not just, break out and laugh. It's good, man. It's good, and it keeps him going.
I'm having a hard time picturing him doing that.
Me too, man. Until you see it, it's really hard to like. And I'm like, wow, he's doing it. He's really good at it, But after all these years of touring and stuff, he's been able to hold his job down and keep doing it while we're touring as well, which is crazy. But yeah, it's a credit to him. It's pretty cool. It's very funny. Very funny.
So you guys are gonna make a new record this year?
That's the plan, man. Yeah, I said, like, over the last few years, we've kind of, I guess, as a band, you kind of want to try and stay as active as you can, and we've been able to do a few little things here and there. We did a few shows when they relaxed the restrictions a little bit, and we just sort of kind of got away with it. That we were able to do a couple of shows. We only did maybe 3 or 4 shows in the last 2 years. In the 2 years when the lockdowns and all that were happening, but we did a live stream as well. And then, like, we've just sort of been working on we released an EP of songs that we recorded over in the States that we were never actually going to release, but we'd done them properly and done them in a studio. And, we thought we were going to just have them as songs for a new record, but we thought, let's just release it and put it out. It's there. We can't rehearse or jam or do anything because Todd, our drummer, lives up in Queensland, which is way away, a couple of hour plane flight away, so we couldn't really play. So we just wanted to try and stay as active and engaged with our fans as we could. We started selling alcohol. We started selling alcohol with this company called Grog Lords.
Like a King Parrot beer?
No, we made whiskey. We made, and we've just done an absinthe. So,
but it's like a King Parrot brand.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. This is this cool company out here called Grog Lords, and they import quite a lot of different. They do the Slipknot whiskey and the Metallica whiskey and Motorhead stuff, Kiss stuff, and he's just sort of started, like picking out some Australian bands to do collaborations with. And so we did a whiskey to start off with, which went really well. And then he approached us again about doing an absinthe. And I said, well, why not, man? Let's do an absinthe.
Yeah, why not is usually a better question than why.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like, well, we can't play shows and we can't, let's do some different things that we normally wouldn't do, and I mean, not to say that we wouldn't have done it anyway, but it was cool to be able to do it, and our fan base out here, I mean, I think they can't send it internationally. They can only sort of send it within Australia, but our fan base out here are, heavy drinkers, I would say. So, so it went really well, man. It was good. So yeah, well, we've released our first EP. We've just released our first EP that we did in 2011 on vinyl for the first time on a 10-inch, and we did all the albums on cassette because we never done cassettes before and things like that. I've just been trying to just keep it ticking over, and I just said to the boys recently, I said, look, I don't know how much more of this stuff I can do without a new record. We need to do something. So yeah, we're going to spend some time. We've got maybe 15 song ideas there. So we've got a lot of stuff from over the years that we've just sort of banked up. And I think it's just a matter of getting into the rehearsal rooms in the studio and jamming them out and demoing and all that sort of stuff. But I think, we've got enough ideas and things there to make a new record for sure.
Killer.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It is, man. I'm super excited. It's been a long time since we've done a record. So, like, other than the EP that we did a couple of years ago, but that was, like I said, it was songs that we recorded a while ago. Like, I think it was like in 2018 or something, that were just sitting there and we released it. So, yeah, we're overdue, man. We're ready.
So with those songs that you released that were recorded in 2018, you said you recorded them in the U.S.?
We did.
Where'd you do them?
We recorded it down at Housecore Record Studio at Nosferatu's lair in Louisiana.
That's Phil's
studio.
Phil Anselmo's studio? Yeah, cool.
That's his place, yeah. It was a really strange situation, actually. We just done a tour with Superjoint and Devil Driver and Childbite and Cane Hill, I think. I think we just put out the last record, Ugly Produce, and we did that tour with them. And then we were going to fly straight out to Europe and do a tour with Decapitated. And Decapitated were touring around with Thy Art Is Murder at the same time as we were doing the Superjoint Devil Driver tour. And then they had all that shit that happened to them a few years back where they got in a bit of trouble. I think it was up in Seattle or something.
Yep.
And, it was all over the metal press. I can't remember the details, but it wasn't great. And our Europe tour got cancelled that we were supposed to go out with Decapitated. So we ended up having to stay in America for another couple of weeks.
Oh, wow. So you were supposed to go out, but shows got canceled, so that's why you were hanging out instead of rebooking your flights?
So basically, we were going to fly straight out from America, fly straight to Europe, and 2 days later start the tour with Decapitated. But the whole tour got wiped. Mm-hmm. So we got stuck in America for 2 weeks. We stayed in Florida for a week, and then we asked Phil and Kate if we could come over, and we just had an idea. Let's get in the studio, write and record as much as we can do in a week, or 4 or 5 days or whatever we had. So we just got in there, we set everything up, had the studio while we were just sort of jamming, and then when we had the idea or we had the structure or whatever we wanted to do, we just went bang, hit record, and then once it was recorded, I'd try and go off and finish off the vocals, and we just did that just for something to do.
That's a really good idea, though, to make good use of that time. That's awesome. Made lemonade out of those lemons.
Yeah, exactly. It was great just to be able to sort of, utilize that time. Yeah, so that was good. And strangely enough, we ended up being there, and our booking agent rejigged some shows for us. So we ended up going over to Europe anyway, but we just did a UK tour, like 12 shows in the UK or something like that. But before we left, I Hate God and Crowbar were playing Halloween in New Orleans. And so we gave them a call and said, hey, like, we're in town and we're leaving like the next day. Can we play with you guys? And they were, sure, jump on the bill. So we got to play in New Orleans with I Hate God and Crowbar on Halloween.
That's awesome. Their hometown.
It was awesome, man. It was a really good show. We were really grateful to be able to just sort of, 3 or 4 days beforehand, call them up and say, hey, can we play? And they were like, yeah, no worries. Let's do it.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it was. It was good, man. It was really good. So, yeah. So that was an interesting little set of circumstances that was, but it all kind of panned out in the end.
So that EP is out or it's coming out?
No, it's out. It's called Hold Up in the Lair. It's out on Housecore Records over there in North America.
Cool. I need to check that out. I want to listen to that.
Yeah, and it's got a little video called Kick Up a Stink. It's like an animated video. Again, we wanted to do a proper video, but we couldn't get together to do it for that release because of the lockdowns and all that sort of stuff out here. So there's an animator guy here in Australia that does some really cool stuff. So we got him to do it. And yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
I will absolutely check that out. I love animation. And
yeah,
that's
this
really
guy's
cool.
Great. I'll give you the link.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's rare to see animation in a music video just because animation's so laborious and expensive.
It is. But the way this guy does it, it's really cool. And I was just shocked with how quickly he turned it around as well. He did it in like a couple of weeks.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. I might have to tap that dude's skills.
Man, he's good. He's doing a lot of videos for bands out here now. His name's Mike Foxall. Yeah, really, really talented guy.
Rad. Yeah, that's awesome.
Indeed.
Well, you have a new baby? Did I hear you correctly?
I do.
Yeah, damn, dude. How many kids do you have now?
Yeah, we do. So between me and my missus, we have 4 kids.
Woo!
Yeah, man, we're partying. Yeah, and our little baby's almost 2. So, yeah, she's growing up real quick. It was right in the middle of the pandemic stuff that she was born. So it was really kind of weird those first few years where things were, we were just at home a lot and locked down. And
well, I mean, you had to be at home, so that timing to have a newborn could be much, much, much worse.
True, absolutely true. But it was still kind of weird, just because the lockdowns were so intense over here, especially in our state and city in Melbourne. It was just like it was a ghost town all the time. That aspect of it was kind of weird. But yeah, no, it's good, man. We've got our hands full here, and we have fun. We have a lot of fun.
Yeah, 4 kids. Bill Gates hates you. I think Bill Gates hates me too. I don't even have any kids.
I think we're all we all fall under the same umbrella when it comes to our old Billy boy.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
Useless eaters, I believe we are.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. So, yeah, how's it all going for you guys? What's happening in Denver, man? How's it all going there?
Things have relaxed a lot over here. There was some months when the music venues here reopened, and a lot of them were, doing the papers, please. Show me your papers to come into the venue. And it's funny, you were mentioning that at some of your shows, a lot of people weren't showing up even though they bought tickets. Well, one of the big, turning points for some of these venues to stop doing those restrictions was I heard there was a sold out show at one of the bigger venues here in town. Sold out and 40% attendance because there was tons of people that bought the tickets and probably either didn't want to show their papers, didn't feel confident going into a big audience, this, that, or the other thing, and just didn't show up. Less than half of the people showed up to a sold-out show.
Wow.
So nowadays, they're not checking anything, and it doesn't matter what your medical status is. You're welcome in like you're a regular human being.
Yep.
It's pretty nice.
Interesting. Yeah, so they've just stopped asking and stuff at all the venues and all that now over here. The mandates were still in place for vaccination stuff to be able to work here up until, I think it actually ends this week, or might have even been today that it ends. So up until this point, you haven't been able to legally work in Victoria unless you were vaccinated.
Up until this week, you can't work?
Yes. Yeah, man.
Holy shit. So what changed that made them drop it this week?
I have no idea.
Wow.
I have no idea what changed. I don't think anything really changed. They just that's just what they decided to do. I think for healthcare and jobs in the healthcare field, you still have to have it. But everyone else can go back to work, I guess, or can get a job again. There's staff shortages everywhere, and small businesses are really struggling out here. So, in turn, all of the prices are going up for everything. Everything's going up, but everything's going up apart from people's wages.
Yeah, exactly. The wages don't keep up ever.
Yeah, but I mean, look, it's somewhat returning to a little bit of normality. But as you probably heard, you know, like here in Melbourne, like things were probably the harshest that they were in all of Australia, and comparatively to the rest of the world, I think, you know, like we had some of the harshest lockdowns here.
Yep.
That were going around. There was like curfews and all sorts of stuff, you know. So it was just kind of bizarre to be in it all. And I think, you know, there's a lot of fear that's sort of carrying over in people. There's still lots of people out wearing masks, and people wearing masks in their cars and stuff still, and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen a mask in a car in a while, but yeah, for a long time there was everyone doing that. And it never worked out, but I really wanted to like pull up next to someone like that at a red light and, you know, do the roll your window down thing to them. And I genuinely, really, like, not to make fun of them or anything, I really genuinely wanted to be able to ask someone like, hey, why are you wearing a mask alone in your car with the windows up? I would seriously like to know like what the reasoning is.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's interesting. It's fear, I guess. You know, it's just the fear of it all, I think, and I guess people want to be seen or think that they're doing the right thing, I guess.
Yeah, I hope I don't get myself sick.
Yeah, yeah, man. It's bizarre. Like I don't. Yeah, I mean, you know where I sit with all of this stuff, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So for a long time, I know that interstate travel was banned. You couldn't go to other states in Australia. I saw videos of people meeting at the borders where there was like a concrete wall set up. And people, you know, family members that live in different states would meet up at the border and like share lunch with each other because they couldn't physically like set foot in the other side, but they could hug each other and share lunch or whatever, because that makes a lot of sense.
Man, thankfully all that sort of stuff's going on now as well. I think Western Australia, which is, you know, a long way away, like, you know, right over the other side of the country, was basically just so isolated there for a while. They couldn't leave. You couldn't go in. They couldn't leave.
Prisoners.
It was bizarre. But I think that's all kind of gone now too, you know, which is a shame because, you know, it's awesome over there. And, you know, I've got lots of friends over there and people that I haven't seen for years now that live over there, you know, that when, you know, usually I would see them, you know, 3, 4, 5 times a year at least.
On tour? Like going to Perth?
Yeah, like on tour playing shows or them coming over here, you know, like music people.
Yeah.
You know, people that, you know, get to know over the years that you work with. And yeah, it's bizarre. But yeah, the confidence is still kind of down a little bit, I would say, for like traveling over to Western Australia. It's been really sort of full on here, really full on. Something that you kind of never really would have thought that you would, you know, obviously it's been full on everywhere. I get it. But being sort of out here in Australia, you're kind of a little bit isolated. You feel sort of separate. You know, you're so far away from everywhere else. You know, it was even more isolating, you know, just to be not be able to do anything, you know, not to be able to go anywhere and or even leave your state, really. So, yeah. Yeah,
madness. I haven't done research on like the new rules for entering the country. What's up with going to Australia? Is that even possible?
I don't actually know, to be honest with you. Well, the bands are starting to come out. Like, bands are touring.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah. We've had the Bronx came out and played the other day. They were out here. There's a big festival called Good Things, which has got, like, I think Bring Me the Horizon, Deftones. I think Soulfly are actually playing, and there's a few other bands playing as well. You know, a few, like, sort of poppy, punky kind of bands as well. Mm-hmm. That's in December.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, and, I mean, the promoters stuff get busy again, and, you know, there's tours coming up, but I would say, like, so far, half of them have been like cancelled or postponed or whatever because of COVID, basically, if someone gets it or they can't come out or whatnot. But there's another festival that's just actually happening at the moment called Dark Mofo, which is down in Tasmania.
I love the name.
Yeah. And they have some cool stuff down there. I wasn't quite up with what they had, but I know like Triptychon played, and there's some other cool bands. Chelsea Wolf, I think, were doing stuff, and yeah, so that's been going on, and a lot of people travel from around Australia down to Tasmania to go and check that out. So
Yeah, and you guys have played down there, right?
yeah, we played down there a lot, man. Yeah, it's good.
Do you guys take a boat
cool,
over there or fly?
No, you can take a boat, but it's sort of like if you go on the boat, you kind of have to stay overnight. So you like go in the afternoon, drive on, and then stay in a cabin or whatever, and then you arrive the next day.
Right.
So
Okay.
no, we just fly. It's just an hour. It's only a 1 hour flight from Melbourne.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would imagine that boat ride is a little choppy and weird because I'm sure the current goes through that channel pretty strong.
Oh yeah. It's a wild ocean out there. Like it's sort of like the next. I live right down on the ocean, and the next thing south is Antarctica. Other than Tasmania, it's like Antarctica's down there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so crazy that that's the closest thing because Antarctica and Australia are like, no pun intended, but like polar opposites when you think of landscapes.
Well, and I think like it's funny. I think the stereotype of Australia is that it's hot and arid and all that sort of stuff. But I guess where we live, I'm a couple of hours out of Melbourne, sort of down near a city called Geelong. It's more. We have weather. It gets really cold here in winter.
Oh, really?
It's really cold and wet here at the moment. It's sort of like just near where we are. There's a road called the Great Ocean Road, which is a famous drive that you can go on. It goes for like 300 or 400 kilometers, a couple hundred miles.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just beautiful, man. It's beautiful coastline, cliffs, and all that. But it's like a rainforest just inland from there. It's like a rainforest. It's called the Otways, and it's amazing. Just some of the trees and the waterfalls and the scenery and all that stuff is just amazing. Lots of animal life and all that sort of stuff. It's just unbelievable. Some of the trees are just so huge. It's ridiculous. Like you walking through and it's just like, these trees have got to be at least a few hundred years old. And just some of the most amazing stuff you've seen. It's really cool.
And some stinky koala bears climbing up them.
There's a few sneaky little koala bears. There's a few, yeah. More so, like koala bears. There's like kangaroos and wallabies and stuff. Not so much snakes in the colder months, but yeah, man, it's pretty beautiful. And that's just probably an hour or so away from where I live. And we get down there and go for walks and stuff all the time. It's awesome.
Yeah, when we toured Australia with you guys, I really enjoyed your country. We were there, let's see, I think it was February of 2014. Yeah. So it was like summertime down there. And,
it was, yep.
It was beautiful. I remember we had some really awesome days off in Byron Bay.
Yes.
And our like hotel room was like a 3-minute walk from literally being in the ocean from the hotel door.
Yeah.
Good time.
That was awesome, man. Yeah, like I think we were really lucky to have the tour sort of mapped out where we were at Byron Bay, and then we got to stay at the venue where the with the hotel upstairs, and yeah, that was just perfect the way that all panned out. That was great.
Yeah, having 2 days off in a shitty part of a downtown would not be nearly as cool as what we got.
Yeah. I mean, that venue's super cool, and they were like, yeah, no problem. I remember all that. Yeah, that was really great. I mean, Byron Bay is one of the most beautiful places in Australia, and yeah, you can easily spend a week or two there just hanging out and just sort of detached from the rest of the world. You know, it's a really popular place. Obviously, lots of young people go there, backpackers and all that sort of stuff. But sort of a little bit. I don't know. A lot of people have caught onto it, and you know, a lot of rich people are going there now, and it's almost impossible to buy a house or property there these days. And unfortunately, like most recently, we've had some serious flooding there, and around that area, it's just been completely flooded really badly. Like some of the surrounding towns and stuff like that have just been completely washed out.
Whoa, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, it's been shocking, really shocking. It's called the Northern Rivers, that area. So there's rivers that sort of flow through. Yeah, it just got severely drenched, and it's been really, really full on for that whole community. Pretty slow government response as well to assisting them up there. A lot of them
You don't say. Your government is slow in Australia to assist people, but they're very quick to bitch slap you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They're pretty good at that. But yeah, I mean, you know, I've got quite a few people up that way, and they were just sort of, you know, the communities were like helping each other out to try and make it.
Yeah.
You know, help each other. Just, I mean, people's houses were completely destroyed. You know, all the carpet was wet and moldy, and
what a nightmare.
You know, people's houses were completely washed out. You know, so, and the community literally were banding together to help each other out. People had to throw all their furniture and all their white goods and all that just out on the front lawn. You know,
yeah,
it was. Yeah, insane.
That's good to hear that people were helping each other out, because nowadays, I don't know, people seem to not give much of a shit about other people in many cases. Not always, but yeah, having a community that scratches each other's back like that is crucial, especially when something like that happens. Because you can't sit around and wait for the government to show up and help you. They don't give a shit. Guaranteed, everywhere, everyone listening to this, you give a shit more about your community than the government does.
Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that one, buddy. But I think more and more people are waking up to that and seeing that and how obvious it is, especially after the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really encouraging to see that. And I think it's helping raise people's consciousness and awareness around what's going on. And I think it's really hard for a lot of people to fathom that that's the case. And I think a lot of people don't want to let go of that sort of reliance or connection on the government, you know. But I mean, I think we need to move away from that system, you know. I mean, something's got to give, and I think it will in time, you know. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I look back and think about, you know, 20 years ago, how many people were sort of onto all the stuff that we, you know, talk about and share, you know, and all the information that's going around.
Mm-hmm.
Minority of people that were awake to that stuff, but now it's like it's so much more, and I think it'll only get more too. You know, I think people are just becoming more and more aware of what's actually going on in the world right now.
Yeah, I say it all the time. Everyone's got a supercomputer in their pocket, so doing some research is easier than ever. There's more information available than any time in human history.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And it's, you know, it's a bit of a double-edged sword there, isn't it, really?
Yeah, it is. But if you're trying to dig into something and you find 6 different, not all corporate news outlets or something, but find 6 different sources of the same story information.
Yep.
And as long as you're a little bit of a critical thinker and a little discerning, you can kind of find the holes and fill in the blanks here and there. Figure out who's lying and who's telling the truth.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I was going to ask you, man, how is it with traveling into the US at the moment? Do you know? Have you heard anything, or do you know anything about how it is traveling in or getting in, and whether people can come in and it's all okay? And I noticed, obviously, see that bands are touring and stuff.
Yeah, I just saw Thy Art Is Murder. Speaking of Australian metal bands,
Yeah.
Which town are they from?
Well, they're mostly, I think, Sydney and Brisbane, sort of. But I think, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just saw them, and so I know bands are coming from out of town. I'm not sure about if you gotta show your papers medically to get into the country. Yep. I'm not sure about that. But yeah, I know a lot of international bands are coming back, so obviously you're good to go in some capacity, but worst case scenario, if all else fails and they are still checking papers for medical situations, just go to Mexico and then walk across the border, and then you'll get free health care and some cash money and some food and water and clothing and a plane ticket to any city USA. No questions asked.
Yeah, okay.
they hook it up if you walk across the border.
As long as you walk.
Yeah, if you fly in, fuck you. But if you walk, come right in.
You're good to go. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. It's good that the bands are touring and playing and stuff and getting out there and doing it again. It's great to see. And then, so you guys thinking about doing some touring?
Yeah, I want to get out next year. Like I said, half jokingly, when gas is $19.50 a gallon, we'll try to go out. Hopefully, it's not that brutal, but yeah, I want to write some new music and then put it out next year and go on tour, because we've still never played any live versions of any of the songs that are on our last record. It came out right in the middle of all the bullshit and the lockdowns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Yeah, I think we've got a really similar kind of trajectory. I think our guitarist Ari, he's or Mr. White, for people that know, he likes to be called Mr. White too. It's part of the band. He's having a baby too. So
really, he got pregnant?
That's happening pretty soon. Yeah, he's
2022.
Yeah. He's they're having a baby soon, so we're going to take a bit of time off and write and do all that stuff while the bub's born and having the first few months of life, and then we're going to look at next year as well, and hopefully we can come back to the US and go to Europe and stuff too. I'd just love to get back out there and do it all again. It's been such a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that as time goes on, everything's going to get more and more relaxed with some of this stuff. So I don't think there's going to be too many places that are completely off limits to anyone a year, 2 years from now. I don't see that happening. Yeah,
well, I mean, I don't think it's benefiting anything, or I think the amount of stuff that they've rolled back already, especially out here, it's just like, what is the purpose of this other than punishing people?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, no one's safer. I mean, the people that chose not to get the vaccine aren't dying. And then, I mean, people can still get it and still pass it on and all that, whether you're vaxxed or you're not. So it's just time to move on from this stupid shit.
Yeah. Here. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It is time to move on from the stupid shit. There are certain places that are doubling down on the stupidity, but I think just give it a little bit of time, and a lot of these places are going to roll back and eat their words.
Yeah. Where are some of the more sort of stupid places over there that are, I mean, I could probably think of one.
Well, there's some stupidity here in the States, but just north of us in Canada, dude, it's out of control. Their government is absolutely despotic, completely tyrannical, and out of its mind. I know in Canada, I think like their health minister or somebody high up in government there just said like in the last week, that now to be considered fully poked up, you have to have 3 injections. So no longer 2, it doesn't work. He even said that. He was like, 2 doesn't work. So you need 3 now to be considered, fully jabbed up. And I know that in Canada right now, if you aren't fully jabbed up, you cannot get on an airplane, you cannot get on a train, you cannot get on a public bus.
Wow.
And you can't even leave the country. So if you're unpoked and you don't like it and you want to go somewhere else, unless you do something illegal, basically, you're not allowed to leave the country. You're a prisoner in Canada.
Wow.
Absolutely insane.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're like cracking their knuckles and stretching out their neck to see like how fucked up they can get over there.
Wow, man. Yeah. I mean, look, it probably hasn't been that different to what's been happening out here, like it's on a similar sort of trajectory, like it is relaxed a little bit now, but it's similar kind of stuff that's been going on.
Yeah. They're like, if you got the queen on your money, you're going to get fucked with really hard.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, far out. I mean, you only have to look at what, some of the members of that family have been up to in the not too distant past to sort of realize what sort of people they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, the other Commonwealth that comes to mind that's just been absolutely tyrannical and out of its mind too is New Zealand.
Yeah.
God damn, dude. All the news that I saw in the last couple of years coming out of Australia, Canada, and New Zealand, I was just like picking my jaw up off of the floor. Like, how the fuck is that real?
Yeah.
I felt so bad for people in your country and you guys specifically. And my friends and people in Canada and New Zealand, like, you guys got some of the worst of it. And in places like China and shit like that, that's expected. Oh yeah, the government in China is fucking with their people. Oh gee, I'm really shocked. But
yeah,
in places like Canada, New Zealand, Australia, it was really shocking.
Yeah, I mean, and it's pretty, to anyone that sort of wants to look into that sort of stuff, I mean, you only have to really look at what's happening in China to see that that's what they're gradually implementing and rolling out in places like here. Our state in particular, Victoria, there is so much Chinese influence here and there's so much Chinese investment here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Like we have a chain of hardware stores out here called Bunnings, which is Chinese, and it's everywhere. These massive, huge hardware stores that have got everything. It's impossible for Australian-owned hardware stores to really even compete with them.
Yep.
Because it's just everyone goes there. They've got everything. Even we build a house. Like we bought a house and built a house. It was a couple of years ago now, and the company's called Henley. And it's sort of painted up as this sort of Australian home company, home building company. We built through them, and man, Chinese owned.
Yeah.
The imprint of China in Australia specifically. I know they're huge everywhere, but it's just things like that. It's just like, wow, they're just everywhere. It's just everywhere, and who knows what that's going to mean, in the future. But it doesn't kind of feel right, Something feels a bit off about that, especially with the way that they're so harsh with that sort of implementation of, social credit scores and facial recognition technology and all that stuff,
Oh, yeah.
They're doing it. They're starting to do it here. It's happening. It's happening.
Yeah. China is like the testing ground for a lot of the stuff that I agree with what you said, that whatever's happening there is the blueprint for what they want everywhere else. And then, you've got people like Justin Trudeau in Canada talking about how he really admires the dictatorship of a place like communist China. He really loves how easy it is for the government to just snap their fingers and make something happen.
Yeah. Yeah, man, absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that, because the guy who's the premier, we have
Dan Andrews?
the equivalent, Dan Andrews.
Oh,
yeah, you would have seen him, man.
Man.
He made a name for himself internationally. I mean,
he's a gigantic piece of shit.
Oh, God, man. I mean, and people are cheering this guy on. You know?
Really?
And it's like, that's ridiculous. Like, he would still have half of the population support him.
No way. I would not expect that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's, I just don't understand it, you know? I just do not understand it. But people think he's doing a good job keeping everyone safe and all of that sort of stuff. And it's like, oh my God, really? You really think that? I mean, this guy gets on TV and just, he was dictating. He wasn't leading. He wasn't being a leader. He was driving fear, and he was segregating the community, discriminating against his own people, and caused more division in our society than what has ever been seen. And the repercussions of that are going to be, there for years and years to come.
Oh, yeah. I think about children that grew up young during all this stuff, not being able to see people smile, not being able to see how mouths move when people are speaking. Like, these poor fucking kids, like, they're trying to learn how to speak, and they can't see the teacher's mouth moving. They can't interact with people in an actual natural human way and see people smile and see people frown and read facial expressions. Like, man, I really think that the reverberations of these insane measures that were taken are going to be felt for decades and decades.
Oh, and I think just the sheer fact that they just shut down the schools here too. Like, they would just shut down. Like, we effectively, the kids missed, a year or two of school.
Right.
Like a year or two of their education. And not that I really hold the education system in, a high regard anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But more so just the social interaction with their friends is probably the most important and valuable thing that I see.
No doubt.
For them having to go to school, and they just weren't able to sort of do it, and if, you wanted to see your friends, you kind of had to sneak around to their house or sort of do some, you're not really supposed to be around here, but we're going to just drop you off and you can jump over the back fence and, and have a play date or whatever with your friend, It was really sad to see that for the kids, But
yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And the fact, just, I don't know, man. I guess if you're either ready to see what's actually going on, or you just want to follow them down the gutter and you believe what they say. But, I'm just, once you see it, you can't unsee it, can you? And that's where we're at,
Right. Yeah. The best way I've heard it put is, once you're awake, you can't go back to sleep.
No, even if you want to, you can't. I couldn't anyway. I mean, it's just not part of who I am. But as well, it's one of the challenging things about the whole thing has been to not try and, not to get too upset or angry or whatnot. And that's been a real learning curve for me, and not to try not to judge and all that sort of stuff. Whereas I know I've definitely been judged and definitely been sort of, had people come at me and things like that for what I believe and just for basically standing up for my basic human rights.
Right.
I've had quite a few people come at me, but, whatever. I'm not holding a grudge and trying to be a better person and not, and be the bigger person. And it would be easy just to get in a scrap or a shit fight or whatever. But, if people want to kind of have a go at you for what you believe or don't believe, it's okay. We don't have to communicate. We don't have to, that doesn't, if what I'm doing is that much of a problem for you, then that's okay. See you later, sort of thing.
Yeah, it's a big enough world. We don't have to interact.
Exactly, and it's fine. And I think during this time, people have found the people that they resonate with, and isn't it just a great thing? It's awesome. I've like probably lost a few friends, but also made a lot more and resonate with a lot more, and I'm happy with that. That's cool. It's totally cool.
Yeah, a lot of true colors have been exposed.
Yeah, I want to resonate with the people that that think in a similar way to me and want to move forward in a similar way to me. Because it's truth and it's honest and it's real. And I tell you, I mean, if you want to follow that agenda and you want to believe those government politician dicks and all that, you go right ahead. Go over there and do it. It's cool. We're going to try and do this new thing over here, and I'm interested to see how it turns out over the next sort of few decades. I reckon it's going to take time, man.
Yeah, good things do take time.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's definitely a lot further along than what it was sort of even 2 decades ago.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
And it's exciting to see what it's going to look like, in the next couple of decades moving forward.
Yeah, I think, I can't speak for other places, but I think here where I live in the U.S., things are going to get a little bit worse before they get better. But
yep.
I think there's so much potential for things to get much better. I mean, look at the shit we have. It could definitely get better than this.
Yes, absolutely, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and there are some simple solutions. It's like a ship. If you're setting out from Portugal and going to the United States, if you're 1 degree different in your direction, you're going to wind up in a completely different part of the country on the other side. But those micro adjustments over time yield a big dramatic difference. That's all we really need to do, I think, is make some micro adjustments. Like the Michael Jackson song Man in the Mirror, the lyric in that line is like perfect. If you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change. I think that's pretty much it.
It is. I didn't think you were going to pull out a Michael Jackson line, but yeah, that's true.
Got to be done.
Hey, you were interested in Earth ships, right? Is that
oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. I love those things too. Have you seen one before?
Yeah, there's the original community of them is in Taos, New Mexico. And I've been there, and I've stayed in one for about a half a week.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, it was fucking awesome, dude. It was so cool.
Yeah.
So quiet and so peaceful, and the only time we ever had to turn the lights on was at night because there's so much sunlight coming in through the windows.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. Are you even allowed to build those out there in Australia?
Oh, probably not. Probably not. There'll be some sort of restriction on it, I'm sure. I know there's people that do it, and it is like workshops and things like that where people are learning how to do it and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I've been interested in that sort of stuff for a long time. I bought this book. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called the $50 and Up Underground House Book. No, that's cool. It's by a guy by the name of Mike Ohler, Ohler. Yeah, the $50 and Up Underground House Book. And this guy just started building underground houses for $50. Wow. This is a long time ago, sort of back. I just stumbled across it one day, and I bought the book, and it was really cool. And I think that maybe he was sort of pioneered it a little bit, and the people that did the Earth ships might have taken a little bit of stuff from him. Okay. Yeah, and just like doing all that research, looking at that, and then I found the Earth ships, and man, so many times we've driven through New Mexico, and we've just like never had time to go and stop or had a day off to go and check it out, right? Where they all are and that. But I would love to do that, Yeah, they're super cool, man. Yeah, and obviously, if time permits, one day at some point in my life, I'd love to give it a shot and try and do one. Yep, that's the plan. I met somebody the other day
that has built many of them and teaches like how to do it. And I got his number. So
Cool.
when I'm back in town later this summer after recording this band's record in New York, I'm going to write to him and see if I can meet up with him and pick his brain a little bit. I told him I was going to eventually go down to Taos, New Mexico, and do the internship kind of thing and just learn as much as I could about building them and help build them and get some hands-on experience. And he was like, before you go do that, call me. He was like, I can teach you a bunch of stuff. You don't even have to go there.
Awesome.
Yeah, so maybe someday in the future, when that's happening, maybe I'll have some knowledge or know-how, and maybe I'll come say what's up down there and help build one in Australia.
Do it, man. That'd be so cool. That'd be so cool. I think there's a little movement that I was kind of in touch with it a few years ago, but I kind of drifted off from it. But there was people building them, right? And then if you wanted to learn about it and you wanted to go and, similar to what you were saying, like an internship, they would get 10 or 20 people, and you would go and help someone build their Earthship and learn about how to do it. And that as you went, but they would have a full crew, 10 or 20 people, and they get it done, obviously a lot quicker that way, just with the tires and the ramming the earth and those bottle walls and all of that sort of stuff, man. I think that's just awesome. So cool.
Time consuming, but simple.
Yeah. And totally just building it to be part of the earth, it's just such a great concept. And I'm just surprised it's not a much bigger thing,
Yeah, I get the word out about Earthships a lot. I find myself interjecting that into conversations pretty often. When I find out someone might be a little outside of the box with their thinking, or they might be a bit of a hippie or hate the government or something, I'm like, hey, you ever heard of Earthships? But there's a really good documentary about the inventor of them, Michael Reynolds, called Garbage Warrior. Have you seen that?
I think I might have seen it. Yeah, I think I've definitely seen some documentary that was based out there in New Mexico. I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, that one's really good. And they show a lot of the building process and explain how it works and why things are the way they are with them. But in that documentary, they also covered a lot of the hurdles that they had trying to make it legal to build them. Because Big Daddy government is like, no, you can't do that. Wait, you want to collect your own rainwater to drink and fill your toilet and stuff, and you want to grow your own food in your house, and you want to be completely off the grid and not tied into the power company? Like, you can't do that.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. Of course they'll try and stop that. Anything that's, of course they would. I mean, dude, they're trying to outlaw growing your own food here.
Yeah, I saw that. That's fucking insane, dude. That's completely insane. And you got to ask yourself, what the fuck is the point of that?
Yeah.
Other than something evil.
Oh, man. It's completely. I mean, if you're not starting to question things after that kind of stuff. I mean, there was some other thing that I saw got passed the other day, or some that got brought up, that they're going to try and outlaw using plastic straws. Yeah. And if you get caught using a plastic straw, you'll get a fine. Like, oh man, it's getting crazier and crazier out here. This is some of the stuff that goes on. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, they want you to use a paper straw.
Yeah. The ones that go all soggy.
And they taste like shit. They get all soggy. And often, because it's a straw, they don't have them just like sitting there in a cup. They're wrapped in plastic. Fucking idiots.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I mean, not that I care about straws or anything. I mean, I don't use them anyway, but it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's what we're concerned about. People are starving to death. We have more slaves in the world than ever in the world's history, but we're worried about plastic straws, huh?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And I was just I saw something as well about like the amount of face masks that have now ended up in the ocean.
Oh, yeah, it's disturbing.
Up to 450, 3 or 4, I think it was between 3 and 450 years to break down. There's like 4 billion or 4 million face masks now in the ocean or something.
Yeah, well, good thing they're going to get rid of the plastic straws.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it's a crazy old world.
It really is a crazy world. Since we were on the subject of Earth ships and things being more eco-friendly and shit like that, one thing that boggles my mind is, they can make plastic out of hemp.
Yeah.
And for something like a to-go cup or a plastic straw or plastic forks and knives and, to-go boxes at restaurants and shit like that, I've wondered this for so long, like, why the fuck can't they just make those out of hemp plastic? That way, if someone does throw it in the ocean, who gives a shit? It's just going to break down in like a couple months, and that's it.
Yeah, that doesn't just make too much sense, bro.
It would make too much sense. Exactly. Yeah, there's often times where I'm like, Jesus, I wonder why things aren't like that. And then I think for about 2 more seconds, I'm like, oh yeah, of course, because that would ruin this industry or that one wouldn't make money. There's so many things in the world that are good for humanity, bad for business.
Yeah.
And those are the ones where I'm like, why doesn't that exist? Oh, yeah, money.
Yeah. I mean, it's just everything's back to front. It's just, bizarre. But that's the way they want to do it, but I think over time, like we were saying before, I think people are more and more just waking up to it and understanding how things work and seeing it for what it really is, and that the cloak is being lifted. And I think when the whole COVID thing happened and all this stuff happened, like they really put themselves out there, and I think the door closed behind them, and they're there now. You can see, if you want to see it, it's really easy to see it.
Oh, and, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and that's just the way it is now, and I think more and more people will see it. I think there's a lot of pride and ego involved as well with people that they kind of still have to cling on to that. They wouldn't do that to us.
It is all ego. It's all ego. You can't admit that you got taken for a ride. They fooled you. Yeah.
And I think, there's a lot of people that kind of go, well, surely they wouldn't do that. I mean, they're the government. They're here to take care of us. Surely they wouldn't do that. And I think people think that because they wouldn't do it.
Exactly. Yeah, they project their own morality onto a heartless, soulless monster called government.
Yeah, it's like, hold on a second. These people have been doing this for a long, long time, and it's nothing new. And it's just taken different shapes and different forms. And now they've done it with health. And people think, oh, they never do it with health. Well, they are doing it with health. They have done it with health. They don't care. Like they'll do it with anything. And this is just the new thing that's got people sort of, in a flutter. And you just got to go, well, you got to see these people for what they are, and they're no different to it's just happening on a global scale now. And they're no different to the famous people in the past that have done horrible things.
No, they're not very different at all. They're sociopathic, crazy, evil people.
Yeah, and there's just a lot more of them now, and they're all over the world.
Well, and they're more brazen about it, too. They're telling you, like World Economic Forum, Klaus Schwab, you got saying, by 2030, you will own nothing, and you will be happy. They're just, right out front with it. Like you said, they're wearing no clothes, and the door is slammed shut behind them, and now it's just out there for everyone to see. At this point, if you don't see it, it's because you're choosing to ignore it. And I think as time goes on, it's going to get harder and harder for people to dismiss everything as a quote-unquote conspiracy theory when, a steak costs $30 and gas is $20 and you literally can't buy a house because they've all been bought up by BlackRock and State Street and Vanguard. And, I mean, everything's right there in the open. It's willful ignorance at this point if you don't want to get on board and agree that there are sociopaths that are pulling some very big strings, and it's affecting your life directly. It's not a conspiracy theory.
Mm-hmm.
There's literally a conspiracy. People get together behind closed doors and figure out how they're going to fuck you over.
Yep.
The only thing is, though, the door is kind of like cracked open a little bit. You can peep into the door now, and people just put their hands over their eyes. But this is a big reason that I speak out, and I've gotten a lot of hate for speaking out, and I've lost a lot of followers and fans and, shit like that. But I don't care, because my only concern is that we're running out of time. People need to understand and realize this stuff sooner than later, because if people don't snap out of this quickly, we might wind up with the 2030 agenda that globalists and crazy people really want. 2030 is only 8 years away. And that's when they're saying that you will own nothing, you'll be happy. Well, what if I'm not happy?
Yeah.
Well, do they?
Yeah.
Well, what's the plan then?
Yeah. You still own nothing.
Well, at least you'll still own nothing. And I'll be happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they kept that into the deal.
Yeah, exactly. But that's only 8 years away. And this is not a conspiracy theory. The 2030 agenda is right there on the UN website. Anyone can look it up. And the way that the agenda is delivered publicly for everyone to see, it all sounds really great. We're going to end poverty. We're going to end famine and food issues. We're going to make sure that everyone's got good social standing, and we're going to have peace on earth and blah, blah, blah. It all sounds great on paper, but if you read between the lines a little bit, a lot of it sounds like some sort of communist utopia. And in the past, historically, whenever communism is implemented, it does, except for the people at the top running the regime or whatever, it does even out the playing field, and it makes everyone kind of equally poor. Communism doesn't take the rich people and the poor people and then raise the poor people up to the level of the rich people. No, it takes the rich people and chops their fucking legs off, and it makes everyone poor. And in that regard, everyone is equal. So, yeah, just if you can discern a little bit and read between the lines a little bit, you can see that they're very brazen with what they want to do with us and or to us. And we need people to understand and fight back now while there's still a chance. So that's why people like yourself I really respect and have a lot of love for, because you, like me, speak out right now when something needs to get said. Calling bullshit is necessary right now more than ever. And I think so many people, even ones that would agree with us, are afraid to say anything. They don't want to rock the boat. Oh, I don't want to lose any followers. Oh, I don't want somebody to be mad at me. Oh, I don't want people to not like my band anymore. Like, I don't give a fuck. We have way bigger, more consequential things going on right now than how many Instagram followers do I have. I could not care less. The world as we know it might cease to exist soon if you people don't become aware of this information. And the TV's not telling you, the radio's not telling you, the newspaper's not telling you, and I don't see any fucking buddy else saying anything. So, god damn it, I didn't want to do this, but here I go. I'm going to tell everybody some shit they don't want to hear, but they need to hear.
Yeah, man.
And again, I just love and admire the fact that you're that kind of person as well.
Yeah, man, and likewise, dude. I mean, obviously in the last few years, you kind of get caught into stupid shit online, and and I've just kind of definitely pulled back from doing that so much, because that shit can affect me a bit, and I don't like it. I don't think doing stuff on social media and stuff like that it's not really going to change much. But I feel that putting information out there and just letting it get there and not coming from not judging anyone or anything like that, but just saying, hey, this is the information. This is what it is. Take from it what you will. It's all there if you want it, and if you want to find it, and you want to look for it. It's all right there. But yeah, like I admire what you've done as well, man. And why else would you put it out there other than if you honestly believed and thought that it was the absolute truth? You know, like why? Well, people want to ridicule you or give you a hard time or that, and it's like, well, what are you doing, man? Like, what are you standing behind? What, the government? Really?
I'm standing behind what corporate media and the government told me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's just ridiculous. Like, we're like metalheads and punk rockers, and we're supposed to be the ones that do this. We try and wake people up and snap out of it and push back against it so that we can all have the life that we want to have, you know, and that's what I'll, you know, try and continue to do and put it in the music and stuff, you know, like with the King Parrot stuff, I don't put it in there, but I've got another, I haven't, but I probably will moving forward and a little bit more. But with, got another band with Joe and Dave from Psychroptic and Brett from Revocation. And
rad.
Yeah, it's called CrisisAct. It's like a, sort of like a grindcore kind of.
Is it Crisis Actor?
No, just Crisis Act.
Oh, okay, because Crisis Actor would be a really funny band name.
Yeah, well, we thought about that. We were going to call it Crisis Actor, and we were like, no, let's just call it Crisis Act, you know, like. And, yeah, because I thought people might just think it's a, you know, but anyway, like, yeah, it's sort of like grind. If you can imagine Psychroptic trying to play grindcore, well, with me singing, yeah, that's
Sweet.
What it sounds like.
Hell yeah! Is there any of that stuff recorded?
Yeah, we did one EP. Yeah, we've done an EP, and we're just about to do another one.
Hell yeah! All right, I gotta check that out.
Vocals.
That's rad, and it's Brett from Revocation playing bass.
Yeah, Brett's playing bass. Yeah,
sick, dude.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that stuff on there. I put a lot of that stuff into the vocals, and
that's rad. I had no idea that band existed.
Yeah, man, I'll send you some stuff as well. So
fuck
that's
yeah,
something else that people can check out too.
Hell yeah, I'll have links to all the new stuff and your music and stuff in the description.
Awesome, man. That sounds really good.
So shows this weekend and a new record later this year. So you imagine new record will come out next year?
Yeah, it'll be by the time it all goes through the processes and everything. I think it'll be next year. But yeah, we're definitely going to try and finish. I mean, there's some structures and there's some songs and things like that all there, and whip it into shape over the next few months, and then potentially record it in our summertime, so December, January, February, or something like that. And then, yeah, hopefully we'll be ready to go at some point next year. That's the plan.
Hell yeah. That's way rad. Oh, so this is a loaded question, and if you don't have an answer right here immediately, it's fine. If you think of something later, you could send it to me. But typically when I have somebody on, I ask them this same question at the end.
Okay.
If you could leave one message behind and tell future generations one thing or one piece of advice, what would you want to pass down to them?
Oh, wow. Oh, man, that's one of those questions, isn't it? That if you think about it too much, you're just going to get confused. And I would just sort of say, you know, do what you love, man. Do what you love. That's pretty much as simple as I would make it. Do what you love and trust that it's going to pan out and that things are going to work out if you follow what you love doing, you know.
Hell yeah.
I think there's so much pressure put on kids to know exactly what they want to do when they're in high school and make a career choice and all that sort of stuff when they're, you know, still kids at 18 or whatever, you know, you go study, go to university, or whatever, you know. And I mean, I still remember when I was like 15 and talking to my mum, and she's like, so, you know, what do you want to do? And all that. I'm just like, Mum, I just want to play in a fucking band. That's what I want to do. I just want to play in a fucking band.
That's exactly what I said to my parents.
And she's like, well, you know, but you could potentially like be a sound engineer. And I'm like, I don't want to be a fucking sound engineer. And she's like, yeah, but we should just go and do this, and, you know, like, and have a look at this. And I remember we had to, as part of like the high school thing, you had to kind of go and have a look at some courses and things that you would do after high school, man. And I didn't even finish high school. Like, I just dropped out, man. I was smoking way too much pot, and just I was nuts back then. I didn't even care about school, and I just said, I just want to play in a fucking band, And it's funny, like when we've been lucky enough to be able to tour and play all around the world and do all that stuff, and by no means are we like a huge successful band or anything like that, but we've been able to do so much more than what I ever thought I would be able to do in terms of playing music, and I'm incredibly grateful for that opportunity. And now I can sort of go, see, Mum, that's all I wanted to fucking do. I just wanted to play in a fucking band. That's all, and we love it, and we do it because we love it, and and the music that we play obviously isn't everyone's cup of tea, but the people that love it and get behind it and support it, and that's why we do it. It's important to us. It's awesome. There's nothing like it, and I wouldn't change it for anything. It's great, and so that's what I would say, man, to people is just follow what you love and do what you love, and everything else will take care of itself.
Yep, and then someday they'll wind up like you. I mean, dude, you've toured all around the world. You've done a lot of really cool shit, and all of it was because of following your own advice there.
Yeah, man, and same goes for you and everyone else. It's sort of, I look at bands like, like you said, you saw Die Artist Murder the other day. I mean, we did a tour with them. Must have been 2013, I think it was, when we first sort of started. We're getting a little bit more traction, and just seeing the way that they were doing it then, they were ready to go to that next level, and it's really inspiring, and great bunch of guys, and just doing what they love, they just do what they love, and they're playing huge shows now all over the world to massive audiences, and it's just inspiring to see that they've just followed their dreams and they do what they love, and it's great. It's no better advice. I've been listening to a lot. Do you ever listen to Wayne Dyer?
Yeah, the bald guy, right?
Yeah, the old bald guy. He's an old psychologist kind of thing. I mean, I just listen to that stuff all the time now, and it's just incredible. It's had a really good, positive effect on my life the last sort of, I don't know, 6 months or something like that. I've been listening to it quite a lot, and it's been awesome.
Hell yeah, that's great. That's great advice. Right when you said it, just do what you love, I started smiling ear to ear. So that's a good one. I always ask this question because the answer is always good, or if nothing else, interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
Normally I give people a heads up, I'm going to ask you this heavy-ass question, but you rose to the occasion perfectly.
I surprised myself. Usually I fuck that up. Something's shifting.
Because of that, I normally give people a heads up. I totally spaced letting you know that was going to happen, but you're the man. You did it.
I was going to say we should commend each other, I think, for being able to sort of link the time up.
Holy
and
shit.
All that sort
Yeah,
of
dude.
Because it's like 1:30 in the morning here now.
Yeah, it's 9:30 in the morning here, but I'm way behind you time-wise. Yeah, scheduling this was a challenge.
Yeah, we got there in the end, man. I'm glad we did.
Yeah, thanks for staying up late and doing it, man. I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man. It's great to catch up.
Yeah, you too, Youngie. It's been a long time.
It has, man. It has. Yeah, really awesome to talk to you, bro.
You too, man. I miss you. I love you.
Yeah, love you too, brother. And hopefully I'll see you sooner rather than later.
Yeah, in the real. Not in the metaverse.
Yeah. Fuck the metaverse. All right, brother. You take care, and thanks again, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in and sticking around to the end, everybody. On the next episode, I think I'm going to have to dive into the recording for the Nula Special record. I think it would be a good time to talk about how some of that went and catch you up on what else has been going on recently. As always, I appreciate your support. Thanks so much for listening and tuning in and sharing it with your friends. Liking, subscribing, doing all that good stuff. Reviewing, rating, leaving comments, spreading the word. I appreciate you all more than you know. One of the best ways to support the podcast would be to buy a t-shirt. Wear it loud and wear it proud, out and about wherever you may roam. Of course, you can pick those up at riffsordie.com, as well as listen to all of the episodes, even ones that were censored from YouTube. They are on riffsordie.com. And if you're really feeling generous, you can head over to patreon.com/riffsordie and subscribe, become a patron. Your support is vital to me knowing that I should keep doing this show. So I really appreciate you all. Thanks so much for your time, and go do what you love. Talk to you again soon, friends. Adios.